All right. So, welcome everybody. It's good to see you all. How is everybody, first of all? I just want to kind of go around the room and do a quick check and just see how life is, how business is. Bernard, how are you doing?
I'm okay. Excuse me.
Um, Diana, how are you? How's business? Are you busy lately? Is this a
I've
busy
been
season for you?
super busy. Yeah, it's pretty busy. I was trying to do. I didn't make it to last class. I was here, but I wasn't like. It was hard because I was working, but I was listening in. Um, but yeah, I've been busy with work. I have a little guy, and I was having problems with the last classwork, but I guess I'll make up for it.
Oops.
You were having problems with what? I'm sorry, I didn't catch
I
it.
was with the assignment, the last assignment.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that in a few
Okay.
minutes.
Okay.
Elizabeth, how are you doing? What's the latest with you?
Hello, I am I'm okay. Learning to manage my time. But it's been a busy week, so I definitely need to go back and probably watch the video again from last week to do a little bit more a deeper dive into the assignment that we had to do. But this one I'm still a little like half foot in, half foot out on making sure that I understand what I'm doing and getting the right feedback. So I'm working on it though.
Great. No, we'll get into some of that in just a minute, but I do have good news for you guys tonight, and that is that the majority of the homework you will have submitted by the end of the night for today's lesson. So it won't be something big that you'll have to do before Wednesday. You should feel like, there's a little bit of a breather, which might give you a chance to go back and do some of these things that you have questions on. Hey, Paul, how are you doing?
Yeah, pretty good. This past Saturday, I had a chance to do like Saturday school with the students. So like I always love that environment in comparison to like a normal school day where everybody's like more relaxed. Just get a nice little groove and a thing. But I had a chance to really talk to like a few of my students where I'm just like, what do you all picture? How could I don't know, you all learn best in comparison to where we are now. I was going to just like record and like listen to it where I need to listen to it, and I can just share it to you. Um, but it's just really beautiful. It gives us those different insights, and as well as like the different ideas that I'm stimulating right now, where I can see like a long-term vision of where I want to go and reach this with, but just like seeing different areas of like students like, yeah, I think I might go best with a visual aid, but also like how can I utilize instruction and like tutoring in the same way, just like for myself to accommodate myself, but also work with other students. I was sharing that like just different things where I was just like, I know what I'm getting to is like really finding itself as like a new wave or a modern way of learning, especially just seeing like how us as adults learn where we have to collaborate with others and seek that advice and really ask the right proper questions and to get the answers we want. So it's nice to actually have that from the student's perspective.
Yeah, I feel like that's awesome. And I'd love to see if you're recording some of these. I would love to see them. I feel like you're lucky because you've got people, your employees are like around you all the time. So
Correct.
whereas
Yeah.
some are like having to search them out, you have this like plethora of interview subjects surrounding you all the time. And then it's also, yeah, I mean, it's got to be fun to just listen to them, to ask them questions and just see what comes out. I always find like interviewing younger people to be some of the most fun interviews because crazy stuff can come out of it, and just really it's neat to hear their perspective. So Yeah, please share if you have any videos. I'd love to see those.
Oh, definitely. I will appreciate that.
So, all right. So tonight we are doing module 7, which is define, and we're going to do point of view statements and how might we statements. So we've dug in to define a little bit so far with our user personas, but we're really going to get into the define stage much more tonight. And then what we're doing tonight will help be our springboard for finally getting into that solution and brainstorming phase, the really creative thinking outside of the box phase, which is my favorite phase. And so you guys will probably be hearing a lot more from me when we get into this phase, because I love getting involved here. Not that I don't love the other stuff, but this portion coming up is really kind of my sweet spot where I have fun with you guys. So, all right, I just wanted to mention really quickly that there's a lot of resources that are available with this class. So we put all this information at you during these live discussions. But then we also have other pieces that come at you as well. So we have those weekly emails that RJ sends out, and sometimes they're not every week, but she recaps and she'll give you helpful information. How many people are getting those and reading them?
I don't know if I'm getting them, or I think I might not check that email as often. So maybe I just, I'm not like reading through the whole thing.
If there's a better email for us to send things to, let us know. So Diana, are you getting them? I see your hands raised. Linda says she's getting them.
Yes, I'm getting them. Yeah.
All right. Renard, I'm guessing you're getting them too with your hand up.
Yeah, I got them. I'll read them.
Okay, good. Yeah, they have a lot of information in there, and they just kind of help you stay on track and give you some reminders. So please pay attention to that. I would like to ask a favor, and it's not mandatory. I'm not going to be upset if you don't do it, but it is so helpful to not just talk to little black boxes, to see people's faces. So if you guys don't mind turning on your cameras, that would be huge. It's just it makes it feel more like a community, and thank you. Paul, I haven't seen you in so long. Okay, good. Thank you guys. It's just really helpful for me, and it's nice. Yeah, community building too, to see everyone's faces. Okay, so also on the individual lessons, those web pages, we have different tools that are supplementary tools. Have you guys clicked around and looked at those on the web pages for the lessons? Because they're not necessarily things that we talk about in class, but they're available as additional resources to help you sort of understand the material more. Has anyone seen those, and have you've been using those? Diana, you've been using them? There's Elizabeth. Thank you guys. Makes a huge difference for me. Okay, so if you haven't been looking at those, I would suggest looking at them from now on. And also, when it comes time to do your pitches and prepare your pitches later, and you go back to some of these, because you'll be revisiting some of these topics when you're building your pitches, that's when it's really helpful to look back at some of these extra resources. So just a heads up there. And then you also have me, and you have RJ as a resource, and you have Dr. Wanda Eugene as well. So please use us. And if you don't mind, I'm going to start texting you and just checking in a little more frequently and asking how things are going, or emailing, because I really want to know what's going on with you guys. I feel like you've been working hard on some of these assignments and showing up here, which is wonderful, but I want to be more involved in your process, and I know RJ does too. And we want to get a sense of how we can help you and support you throughout this whole process. And some of that might just be just wanting to think through ideas or wanting to think through assignments. And that's okay. You can just call us and talk through an assignment. We don't mind at all. Or you can text and be like, what does this mean, Katie? I have no clue. I'm okay with that. It's not like there's no dumb questions. There's nothing. Yeah, Skylar.
So when you say course resources, it's the things in the module, like if you scroll all the way down to the end, but right above the start assignment section, or is it in like a separate tab within not the dashboard?
So it's in each of the lessons. That's what I'm talking about. It's before that final start assignment button, where there's usually a bunch of additional links and different tools that you can click on. And they are helpful, and they'll give you different ways of doing things or just more information that can help you as you're doing your assignments. So just wanted to point that out because I don't know that we specifically called those out before. All right, so let's move on to the next slide. Oh, we lost the slides, RJ.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I forgot that I was sharing my screen. I don't normally do it, so I forgot. Here we go. We're back. All right, next slide.
All right. Great. Okay, so I want to just check in really quickly and see where you all are at with your different assignments. How are the interviews going? How many interviews have we done so far? Paul, I'm guessing you probably have a lot. How many have you been able to do? Oh, you're on mute.
Yeah. Yes, it's like I guess just to make sure I'm organizing better is just what I have to do, and I know that's just a weakness of mine. Just doing better with just organizing. But I guess here and there when I get to speak to my students, I ask different questions. But I'll say really just coming from last week, like we had stuff going in for school. I was just like, all right, let me make sure I kind of get this done, and then like after school, I can try not to talk to the students this way. But if anything, I really say just like in regards to what I was actually looking for, just 10.
Okay, that's a good amount. So we're hoping that each of you get to at least 10 in this program. So that's great. And yeah, if you want help with, the analysis part of it and the organizing in terms of the Miro board, reach out to me or RJ and I'm happy to even like pull them into categories with you on that Miro board if you need help there. So let's see, Skylar, how many interviews have you done? Not market research ones, but empathy interviews.
Yeah, the empathy interviews I've done 5.
Okay.
And yeah, and I had a couple more people lined up, but scheduling difficulties. So I'm supposed to have like another one on Wednesday. And then I'm still categorizing and like transposing the audio recordings. So
Okay.
or transcribing the
And
audio recordings.
are you finding it easy to steer clear of your solution, or has that been a challenge?
No, it's a really big
as you're doing
challenge because they're like very targeted questions. With like every time, because I have to pre-screen to make sure that they even consume caffeine. And so then when I ask them about caffeine related questions, or I even like open up the idea of like a food with caffeine, I even had somebody in the interview being like, well, I've never thought of a food being in a caffeine, but I'm guessing based off of how I like know you, it's gonna like I would just think of beverage, but maybe gum, even though like caffeinated gum is already a thing on the market. So
Right.
yeah, so it has like influenced some of the interviews, but other people like know of it already. So I don't know. It's kind of it's been difficult to like not provide the solution. Yeah.
Yeah,
It has
I
given
think
some good
it's,
information though, but it's still like, yeah.
yeah, and I think people naturally want to kind of figure out what the next step is. So it's really hard to keep that, even if you are not going to the solution, like, yeah, they kind of want to jump there. So it is tricky. Elizabeth, what about you? How are your interviews going? How many have you done? How's it feeling?
So the interviews, not going as well as I like them to go. I've only had 3 so far. Just trying to get calendars together, mainly mine. I'm not even gonna lie. um, I've had some last minute things and deadlines pop up that I was not expecting and kind of shifted my calendar, but I was able to reschedule. So I have some tomorrow and Wednesday. I'm hoping to kind of use the rest of this week to kind of wrap up, and then just making sure that my questions stay open-ended and they do not go to solution-based. It's still, I'm getting better at it. It's still sometimes a little hard when people say certain things and I'm like, my ears start tingling. So,
Yeah.
but I think I'm getting a little better at it and just reminding myself before I have the conversation, like these are open-ended questions, like just ask them about a general thing and go from there. So I've been working off of the questions that I have. I have about 4 really solid questions that seem to be doing okay. So I kind of stayed within that as opposed to having, 10 or 15 questions that really don't get me what I really want. So it's a work in progress.
Yeah, no, and that's such a good point. Is sometimes, like, if you have good questions that are getting you good information, stick with those. And if you're finding that there's some that are just like, not real, like people are going off on tangents that aren't relevant at all, or, maybe you're just getting better quality with the other questions, then yeah, feel free to stick with the questions that are working the best. That's great. Diana, what about you? I know you've been busy. How are the interviews going? Are you getting useful information?
I am getting useful information as far as the booking. Actually, I've interviewed 2 friends. One mentor, she's a client, and I've been busy, but I've been making time. Thankfully, some of my clients are like, I've had them for a long time and I'm comfortable, but I've been interviewing them while I do their hair. So it was kind of tough at first because it was like making my services a little bit longer, but I figured if I have to take an hour and a half just to do both. But now I'm starting to remember the question, so it's helping a lot. Other than that, I think it's going pretty good. I actually added some more questions because I noticed that some of my clients are kind of like helping me. So I don't know if that was a good thing or not, but the interviews at first started like it started making me like reevaluate my question, which is kind of a good thing, but it's going pretty okay. So far, I interviewed 4 people.
I would say that's a good thing. Like we don't want to go into these interviews with like a set idea of the answers and get exactly those answers. We want to allow ourselves to be surprised and to find out information that maybe we weren't expecting. And so if you're finding that you can switch up your questions a little bit and get more of those things, or if you're discovering information through your interviews, that's what it's all about. That's awesome. So I am really glad to hear that. And yeah, I thought Paul kind of had a captive audience, but you absolutely have a captive audience, which is great that you're able to combine it with some of your services and just get some feedback from those trusted customers. Bernard, what about you? How's it going? How have you done with your interviews? How many are you at?
Sorry. Just like 4 still.
Okay.
Mhm.
So are you finding out good information from them? How are they going?
No. I mean,
No?
I'm getting through the task, but I guess I know what I know already, you know? Nothing new yet.
So maybe you know what you know, but you don't know what you don't know also. And it's really good to go into this with an open mind, and be willing to see what you can find out from that. And also, you know, when we were talking about doing the Miro boards and analyzing things, sometimes the things that we don't know are like the priority, and looking for those bigger groups and those most important, the 2 to 3 themes that really stand out that you hear over and over again. People might have a different priority than you do. So it is important to, I know you feel like you know this stuff and you've been in this space for a long time, but I would really encourage you to keep going on the interviews and keep just listening and seeing what you find out. Even if it's just about the prioritization or whatever, I would explore that some. So,
And add, if I
we,
may,
of course.
yeah, and this is actually going to apply to everybody. But for Reynard, in response for you, I was gonna say maybe we can revise some of your questions so that your time is being of value when you're interviewing people. So if the people are giving you answers to the questions you have, and it's kind of lining up with what you already know, the point of the whole interview is to find out things that you don't know. So we probably want to revisit those questions to see if we can ask things that you don't know. And that's for everyone. If everyone is kind of stuck with their questions and they're not really getting that much insight, or they just want to make sure that they're asking insightful questions that will help them reach their goals, we'd be more than happy to review those questions with you. If you want to just send me an email or send the email to Katie, we can give you some feedback on your questions to make sure that they are clear and they are actually helping you connect the dots as you need to.
Thank you, RJ. Yeah, absolutely on that. If you're not getting the answers that you want or learning information, definitely look back at those questions that you're asking. And we are happy to help you with that too. All right, so one thing that I wanted to mention are your launch goals. So in each of your check-ins, except for you, Skylar, because we'll do that tomorrow, we went through and kind of talked about different goals, gave some dates, and what I would love for you to do, and if you send it to info@10and5.org, it'll go out to the whole team. We really want to be your accountability partners, and we want to know how you're doing on your goals. So update us on your goals, send us the latest version of your goals, what you've accomplished, what you're working, what's in progress, and the dates what you're thinking right now as the dates that you'll get it done. I know we talked about specific dates, but I want what the realistic dates are as of right now, and any updates to those goals. And so Wanda, RJ, and I will all be looking at these, and we all want to support you. So please send those to us all, and I'll give you a reminder at the end of the class as well. All right. RJ, I think we're ready for the next slide. So last Wednesday, I had an obvious technology nightmare of a night with you all. And so this week we are trying something new, which I personally love. RJ is sharing her screen. And so that's why you hear me saying to please click through. So thank you, RJ. All right. So as we get ready for this define stage, it's so important for us to let go of the solution that we walked in with and the biases and perspective that we have, and step back and focus on the problem and the user needs and their point of view. And the reason, so you walked in and you were like, this is what I'm gonna do, and this is why I think people need it. And then we kind of unpacked that, and then we started to ask questions and do these interviews, and we're discovering new things, and we're discovering something beyond our initial perspective. We're discovering their perspective and in more depth, the emotions, the reasons, the thoughts, everything behind their action or their inactions, and we're really trying to understand them. And so it's really, we had talked about this earlier about how when you fall in love with the solution, but not the problem, your business can become stagnant. So if I fall in love with, you know, an old like telephone, for instance, with the cord and all that good stuff in your house, obviously that's become outdated. That what we need now is we need a and that's what we needed back then was a communication device. But the way in which it evolves, we need to fall in love with the problem, which is how to communicate, rather than that specific solution, which would be like that phone with a cord that's, you know, like a business that had a phone that was centered around the solution of a phone with a cord would not really be relevant today. I think we can all agree on that and all think of many, many examples where that would be true. So we don't want you to have like a product that's a fad that like, you know, flares up in interest and then just dies because it can't keep up with the times. So we really want you to focus on that problem rather than the solution, and it'll allow you to evolve and to not become stagnant with your business. So a lot of getting ready for this define stage is about your attitude, honestly, and about being willing to open up and step out of yourself. So we've been doing this and you guys have been doing great. So we are now really entering in the define stage. So we're going to take all this information that you gathered, which is a lot of information. And as you keep interviewing and gathering more information, it's going to be more and more. We started to kind of collect it under the user personas. And we can continue putting information from those interviews into those user personas to make them more realistic. So those personas should absolutely be an iterative living document where you're adding to it and you're making them more and more real based on the information that you're getting in your interviews. So those were the start of kind of the define phase. And now we're going to continue tonight with point of view and how might we statements. And these statements are going to create a really clear point from which we can design from. So we're going to use these as like the springboard to do our crazy ideation phase where we come up with lots of ideas and brainstorm and really get creative. So this is the prep work tonight that then will launch us into that fun phase of really coming up with a bunch of ideas. And so hopefully the best ideas will sift out of that. Okay, so I think we're ready for the next slide. So tonight we're going to do our challenge, but we are going to do it in 15 seconds, and we are going to make sure that we do not mention the problem at all. Not mention the solution at all, that we only mention the problem and who we're solving it for. So I know that many of you have gotten used to kind of throwing in a little bit of that solution in these. I'm going to give you like 2 minutes to write down what you might say and totally take the solution out of it. I don't want to hear anything about solution. If I hear solution, clock starts over and we're going to do it again. So 2 minutes to play around with 15 seconds or less.
The timer started. Forty-five seconds.
Sorry, I can tell some of you guys finished already. I give everyone a chance to think through it.
Ten seconds. Time's up.
All right. Who wants to go first? Diana, yes. I love it. Go. But unmute yourself.
Okay. You said 15 seconds? 15
Yep.
seconds, right? Wasn't it 20 seconds? Oh, God. Okay, I got it. Okay.
Started out as 30, now we're down to 15.
Wow. And only let me read this again. I think I got it.
Only the problem, not the solution.
Okay. Solving my business is trying to solve and who I'm trying to solve it. Okay, I got it. Okay. Whenever you're ready, RJ.
Ready.
My name is Diana Rosie Claire. I own a mobile beauty concierge company. The problem my business is trying to solve is the time constraints to have quality services for the modern busy woman. My company is solving the problem for women with on-the-go lifestyles and ample time to go to and from a salon.
Right at 15 seconds.
Stop it. Ugh. I feel
But
like that
I
was a
feel
lot.
like,
Nicely done.
yeah, I feel like you got it in the 15 seconds.
Oh, okay. Is it too wordy?
Yeah.
A little.
Okay. I can like,
You could come out of it. Yes, you could. But no, you did a good job. So okay. Who's next? Elizabeth? Are you?
I'm
Sure.
ready.
Okay, go ahead.
All right.
Okay. My name is Elizabeth People, and I am finding proper and correct information for starting and sustaining an organization for nonprofit leaders.
14 seconds. Solution oriented.
Is it?
It is, Elizabeth. I'm sorry. I'm gonna kick you to the back of the line and you're gonna have to go again. So yeah, we want to take out that solution altogether. So you know, you could say, if it's easier to say something like, you know, my name is Katie White and I'm helping you know, I'm helping entrepreneurs with nonprofits who need, you know, you can say I'm helping, but you can't say what your solution is, right?
So are
or
you saying
I'm
that,
trying to solve.
are you saying that the solution part of what I'm saying is finding the proper and correct information? Is that the solution part of it?
Yes.
That's the problem. For me, that's
So my with people, and I'm trying to solve the problem of nonprofits not understanding the proper way to start and run a new organization.
okay. I'll go back to the drawing board.
Or something where you're focused on the problem but not the solution at all. So you gotta go back to the drawing board a little bit. Yeah. All right, Skylar. But it was a good effort.
I'm
Okay.
ready.
Yeah. Hi, my name is Skylar Moreno, and my business problem is to reduce caffeine intake and the amount of plastics people consume. This product can be used for people of all ages, so everyone has the opportunity to make a sustainable difference.
13 seconds. Again, solution oriented.
I definitely didn't include the product. I included the parts of the product, and I feel like that's kind of like, it's a food product. It has to be part of what the food is.
Yeah.
So I also am gonna, I'm gonna pick at the part that says that it's for all ages,
Okay.
because that I don't want to hear, because it's not for like newborns, right? So yeah. So and the reason why I'm picking on that is just because often we say like there's a temptation to say it's good for everyone, like because you feel like there's a broad spectrum application, but
Yeah.
we really want you to focus on who it's best for, like who needs the product the most. So it
So
might
should I
be
actually
people who are,
specify age range? So like 13 to 80?
you could say people who are looking to and who are hoping to, who are
Because I don't want to
to
include
struggle.
that like gum, because like, yeah, we want people that have the ability to chew, but I don't know how to like
Right.
disclose not the product and then include the age. That's why I
So
was
you could
broad
say,
stroked, but
but you could be more specific in terms of who has the problem, like for people who are struggling with maintaining
focus or something. Yeah. Okay.
who feel the negative effects or who want to avoid the negative effects of caffeine. So you could do something like that, and that's probably not going to be a newborn, you know, like that.
Yeah.
That in there, it kind of helps you define a little bit more. All right. Paul, what about you? Are you ready to go?
Yes. My name is Paul. My
Okay, we
affiliations.
lost RJ,
Uh-oh.
so I'm gonna be the timer. I don't know where she went, but my slide solution might have just disappeared here. Okay. Tell me when you're ready and I'll push start.
Ready. Hi, my name is Paul. I'm here with Math Relation. Our aim is for middle and high school students to learn math to develop proficiency in modern standards.
All right, that was under 10 seconds. I think that was problem focused. You didn't talk about your solution at all and what you're helping them do. So that was great. Hey, we have RJ back.
Sorry.
That's okay. You missed Paul going, but he did a good job. Reynard, are you ready?
I guess, yeah, sure. Right now, addressing the inconvenience, lack of time and resources. Sorry, I lost my train of thought. Kick back to me.
All right. Okay.
I'm sorry. I was writing and talking. My apologies.
You're fine. All right, Linda, your turn.
Hi, I'm Linda Lipton. Many lives have been lost and personal property destroyed and wasted because of storm surge and hurricane winds and tornadoes, and learning to adapt is our choice.
All right, that was like 17 seconds is what I had on that. And that was very problem focused, but it was also very broad. So we might need to kind of work on some specificity. So we're going to move on. And if we have time at the end, I'm going to revisit this. But I think today's exercise will really help us kind of narrow in on those problem statements. So that's why I'm moving on. So we will keep working on this. All right. So it is now time to take all that data that you learned from your interviews and observations, and we're going to create your organization's point of view statement. So we want to make sure that we get clear and concise point of view statements. And it's important because it helps you tell the customer story, and it also creates alignment with an understanding across your organization. So if you can get a strong point of view statement, it's great to share with your team, and it's great to help you guide you as you're designing and as you're thinking of solutions. So when I say design or design challenge, that's what we're talking about. We're talking about this process of coming up with the best solution for the problem. So we're gonna be developing, we've developed those insights from listening, and then we're gonna define a point of view, and then we're gonna create a problem statement. So RJ, you wanna cue us up our video here, please?
Sure. Oh, sorry.
A great solution to the wrong problem will always fail. In design thinking or any product development process, it's important to find the problem you want to solve before we spend resources ideating, designing, even developing. This is where user needs statements, a pillar in the define stage of design thinking, come in. Now, before I even get into the definition, it's worth mentioning that there are so many terms that mean somewhat the same thing. You'll hear them called how might we statements, problem statements, point of view statements, POV statements. It doesn't matter what term you use, only that you consistently use one across your team and organization. So what is a user need statement? A user need statement is an actionable problem statement used to summarize who a particular user is, that user's need, and why it's important. It defines what you want to solve before you move on to generating all those different ideas. These benefits are twofold. One, you condense your perspective on the problem. 2, you provide a metric for success that you can use throughout the design thinking process. Most need statements or problem statements are made up of 3 components: a user, a need, and their goal. These are then combined into somewhat of an equation. A user needs a way to do something to accomplish a goal. So let's break down that first part, user. The user should be a specific persona or real end user segment you've done research on. It's helpful to include a short tagline that helps remind everyone who this user is, especially if that need statement is going to be used by a large team or stakeholders who are removed from research. And then we have the need. The need should be a real user need. Stay away from features, interface components, specific technology. And then we have the insight. This is the goal. This is the meat. It is the result of meeting that user need. It should be rooted in real empathy. Look beyond the obvious. What will your solution allow the user to accomplish? The fatal flaw that I see so many teams make is that the purpose of a user need statement should be capturing what we want to achieve with our design, not the hows. They should help us advance our presumptive solutions from discrete specific features like buttons towards those deeper empathetic insights. I think of it this way. User need statements should help us frame our users' needs as verbs, access information, to learn, instead of nouns, buttons, drop-downs. When we do this, we're able to generate far superior ideas because we don't limit ourselves to those predetermined solutions, which are often just band-aids for larger user needs.
All right. So we're gonna do some exercises and we're gonna be breaking this down even more and going back over what she said and testing it out as a group together. But a good point of view will allow you to ideate and to
in this video,
solve
I'll be
your
answering
challenge.
the most common questions practitioners
sorry.
ask me
I did
about
this earlier.
blueprinting. From the research you need.
Aha. All right. So we're going to be like, these point of view statements are going to allow you to solve the problem in a goal-oriented manner, keeping the focus on the user and their needs and the things that you've learned about them. So you might come up with multiple point of views statements depending on the insights you gained during your earlier interviews, but we want to so these point of views will reframe a design challenge into an actionable problem statement. And so when we say design challenge, it's coming up with that solution, the best solution to meet your customer's needs. So that's what design challenge means here. So reframing the design challenge into an actionable problem statement, and you're going to combine that all the hopes and dreams and worries and all these things that and insights that you've come to know through your empathize mode, and you're going to combine it in a really concise statement, which is not always the easiest thing, but once we have it, it is a phenomenal tool to allow us to move forward in a really focused way. So it will drive the rest of your design work. So we want to get it right, and we want to really kind of understand how to make these point of view statements. All right. So the point of view, as I said before, it's an actionable problem statement. So you're taking all these things that you started this process when you walked into this program. You came in with this idea, right? And you had a solution in mind. And you're like, this is the business that I want to create, and this is what I'm going to do. And we asked you to then focus on the problem. So you wrote down what you thought the problem was. And then we dove into that and pulled it apart a little bit. And then we had these user interviews that you're still doing. And then we started to pull out the themes from it so that we could understand them. So now we're taking all that and we're bringing it down to this point of view statement. And so it'll be a meaningful and actionable problem statement, which will allow you to ideate in a goal-oriented manner. So it's going to, there's like a kind of a formula, like she mentioned in the video. There's user, which we want it to be descriptive. So we want to add in a few adjectives, a few things that let us know who that person is. So it's not just a woman, you know, you're going to want to, or a man, you're going to want to add in some different things so we get the essence of that person, right? So we get the essence of your user. And so this can be a little tricky to figure out what that essence is, but you've come to know it through your work so far. So it's just, you know, putting it into a small little package. And then what's their need? What are they trying to accomplish? And then why? Like, what is their, like, what is that insight piece is that last piece. And that's like, you know, that end result, but it's not, it's like, you know, it could be something like to create a peaceful day or a peaceful moment or something. It can be something that's more abstract, but it's a goal that is meaningful to them, that compels them to find that solution. So, and you'll see this as we move forward. But we're going to watch a little video, and the reason why we're watching this video is because it really talks about being descriptive of the user. And so that's what this video is going to go into. So.
We both spent time brainstorming the user, the type of person we'd be designing for, and the need. And the key here is to be specific enough that you're creating something of value for a specific person or group of people, but broad enough that you can still brainstorm on it. So we defined our user as a young adult in college who had urinary incontinence and was self-catheterizing. And so that kind of focused us on the project a little bit more. In terms of the need, we wanted to make sure that the need wasn't a solution in and of itself. So we defined the needs in a way that allowed a broad variety of solutions.
Okay, so that was the user there was, you know, there were some specific requirements for that user that were incorporated. And then he went into very briefly that the need should be something that's not so broad that you can't come up with, like, if it's really broad, then you could spend days and days just brainstorming solutions. Like if it's like, you know, I need world peace. And then like, obviously there's a million and one solutions that could be thrown out there for how we might approach world peace. That's way too broad. So if you find that you're like lost in all of it, then you might be too broad. Now, if you gone to something way too specific and narrow, you're going to come up against the opposite problem when it's like, well, what's the best solution to do this? And it's really so narrow that it's leading you to like one or two solutions. And that's not the point of view statements. We want something that allows us to brainstorm in an actionable and meaningful way. So how to make your point of view. We look at the specific needs of the user. We think about what might need the needs of that user and fill in the following statements. User plus need plus insight. I know I've said this like 5 times now. I apologize. It's been redundant, but I just want to make sure that you guys get it. We're going to be going and doing this all together in just a second on some examples. So here's an example. I'm a 7-year-old and I hate doing homework because it takes me forever to finish. Okay, so 7-year-old is your user. That's like the essence of that user. We can maybe even add in a couple more, like an adjective or two there if we wanted to. I hate doing homework. So the need is not to do homework, right? And why? What's that insight? What have you learned from talking to your user? That he hates doing homework, or she, whatever, because it takes forever to finish. So it's just taking too long. So that's that insight. That's that need. But there's also that insight could also be, there's different ways to form these. And so you'll see there's some wiggle room within them. But this is a good example of user, need, insight. All right. Next slide. So here we have not a concise statement quite yet. So this is the information that we need to work from, but we're going to come up with one simple statement that's user, need, insight. So I'm going to read you all this, and then you guys are going to tell me what you think a point of view statement for this is. Okay, so the user is an adult person who lives in a city. The need is to use a car for 10 to 60-minute trips, 1 to 4 times per week. The insight is that the user would not want to own his own car as it would be too expensive compared to his needs. He would like to share a car with others who have similar needs. However, there are no easy and affordable solutions for him. It's important for the user to think and live green and to not own more than he truly needs. All right, so we're going to come up with a point of view statement. This point of view statement is going to be actionable, meaningful, concise. So it's going to get at the heart of everything. And it's also going to be something that could be designed around. So with that in mind, who wants to give it a go? And there's not wrong answers here, really. There can be, like I said, there's wiggle rooms, there's different approaches. So who wants to take a first stab at it?
I can try him.
Great.
So, we're in the perception of the adult who lives in the city, right?
Yeah, so you could say
Okay.
I am, or you could give him a name, John is, or however
Okay.
it's easiest for you.
So I want the ideal green option for my daily commute or for my weekly commute without the constriction of and hassle of having my own personal vehicle.
Okay, so I loved the insight bit of it. I feel like that really got into it. I felt like you a little bit skipped over that user bit.
Oh, like
Can you?
I get this. So the city part
Yeah.
was important.
Well, just give me like a specific, like I am a.
I said
Yeah,
is commuting adult, not I guess that's fair. Metropolitan commuting adult.
That's great. All right, who has a different version that they want to give a try?
Thank you, Skylar. That was really good.
Yeah, that was great.
Yeah, I can try. I'm a young adult currently working in downtown and living downtown, where I would love to be able to travel around the city. However, I'm not looking for anything too pricey, but to have myself be able to align with a more environmental friendly option that allows me to be able to share space with others as I get to travel from my destinations.
Okay, so I like a lot of it. I think it's on track, certainly, but we're trying to go for that really concise user need insight that's like basically a sentence. So we want to distill it down to kind of the small, like you kept a lot of the insights, so we want to kind of shrink it a little bit. So it's good, but it just needs some shrinking. Anyone else want to give it a whirl? Elizabeth?
I think I might have did some of it, but I'll say what I did. Jack wants to travel up to 4 times per week for 10 to 16 minutes without the responsibility of providing his own vehicle, is pretty much where I left off.
So Jack, his need is wanting to travel, right? And then his insight is that he doesn't want the responsibility of owning the car,
The
right?
responsibility of like providing the transportation. Like he wants someone else to provide it, but he doesn't want to do it.
Okay. So yeah, good. And I think we still have some room to add some specifics about Jack there in the beginning, about who Jack is. Okay, so I'm going to move on to the next one. Oh, did someone else want to go?
I was gonna try, I guess.
Yeah, oh, please.
Sure. John's a New Yorker, traveling around the city, commuting. Um, he would like to find some sort of ride share. That's it.
All right, so I feel like yours was a little bit. It was a good effort. I liked the user part of it, but I felt like you kind of gave him a little bit of a solution there, and we're trying to steer clear of solutions. So you mentioned ride sharing, and we want really this not to be about the solution. We want it to be focused more on something that we can design around. So you want to try it again, Renard, but not have the ride share portion?
I don't care. Sure. John's a New Yorker who travels 4 times a week for work. He'd like to find another alternative other than him driving.
Okay, I think that's closer. It doesn't get at the solution anymore. All right, so let's go to this next one.
I don't like the example anyway, but we'll go on.
All right, we'll go to the next one, and then we'll see what everybody has for the next one. And remember, we're trying to get that statement that we can really build kind of brainstorm around. So, okay. So this one, the users are a financial advisor who meets with clients. Her need is to facilitate meaningful conversations with more clients throughout the day. The surprising insight is that the user spends a lot of time dealing with paperwork. Oh, I made it a her, but it's a him. His real passion and where business grows is through genuine conversations with clients. Paperwork and accounting management is essential to the business, but the time he's working on those logistics, the sales is made and it is unprofitable time. All right, so what do we have? Who wants to do a concise problem statement for this one that can be used as It can be goal-oriented and actionable. Linda, you didn't go last time. You want to go? Okay, you're on mute.
A financial advisor can't make money if he's not talking and getting to know his clients very well.
Okay, so the user, you said financial advisor needs to
Find a way to get more talking into his daily routine.
Okay, so financial advisor who needs to get more talking into his daily routine because
It will serve him in the long run because he will be having a better relationship with his customers.
because he wants better relationships with his customers. Okay, that's great. And it helps to break it down into that formula of like that needs and because. That very formulaic approach is helpful to keep it nice and concise. Who else is gonna go here? Anybody? Did I scare you guys off? I hope not. RJ, you want to go?
I'll go. Okay. A financial advisor needs to clients. Okay, so a financial advisor looking to increase his customer base and seeking ways to reduce his time spent on paperwork.
So that's a good way to show. That's one of those wiggle room ones where it's something. Yeah, it's a little bit of a different approach, but it also gives us something that we could build or we could ideate around. So I would say for the user, I might say a people-oriented financial advisor, because his passion is the people and the client. So a people-oriented financial advisor who needs more time for conversations because he hates paperwork and wants to feel passionate about his job again. What? So but see, there's wiggle room with these but we want to focus on the user, the need, and add in that insight, that deeper sort of motivation. Okay, so
Moving on.
one more, and then we're gonna have, so we want them to generate possibilities. We want it to relate to the project and challenge and use strong, sensible language. So if you want to go to the next one, we're going to do one more. And then we're going to have you guys go into breakouts and you're going to do your own. Okay. So we met Sarah, who's a frazzled young mom in yoga pants, who very rarely goes to the restaurant to a restaurant to eat anymore, but used to go a lot. We were surprised to notice that when she does eat out, she rushes through dinner to avoid potential child meltdowns, so that the experience no longer feels, and now the experience no longer feels special. we wonder if this means to Sarah restaurants were an indulgent where we're an indulgence where she got pampered, and now my screen is tiny here. I'm on a little laptop. Got pampered, and now dining out has lost that joy. It would be game-changing to have Sarah experience pure bliss while dining out with her baby. All right, who wants to come up with a very concise but compelling point of view statement? Here. Elizabeth, you look like one's brewing. You got one for us?
I am actually like rereading it because it was a lot of information and I feel like I want to follow the story. And as I hear it, of course, my brain immediately, I'm trying to think of things to help her. So I'm like rereading it so that I can reevaluate how I'm seeing it. So that's why my face looked like that. But I'm not ready just yet.
All right, Paul, you get it. Do you have an idea there about a point of view statement? You want to give it a whirl?
Yeah. Okay. My name is Sarah. I'm going through this midlife crisis where I'm a new mom and I'm battling how I used to be and how I'm adjusting to this spot of being in spaces of public, especially this hits me most when I'm in restaurants wanting to eat, where part of me just wants to sit and enjoy, another part of me wants to just run home.
So Paul, your strength when I ask you these is that you're really good at like empathizing and getting into their head. And like I like how you take them on as characters and understand them. What I would say though is I want you to stick a little bit more to the formula. So Sarah is explain the user with some specificity, just a short, what's the essence of Sarah? You want to say a new mom? You had said that before.
Yeah.
Okay,
new mom.
Sarah is a new mom who needs to
learn how to control her child in public, or have her child have a balance.
What if we do who needs to
or assistance, guidance,
go into like experience, go into public with her child, or dine with her child, something, one of those.
Okay.
A little shorter. Okay. And then what's her, because Sarah's a new mom who wants to go into public with her child, or wants to learn how to go into public with her child, because
she wants to enjoy the experience.
Right. Yeah. No, I mean, I think that's, she wants to enjoy herself. She wants to not be shackled with a child melting down. Maybe that was a little harsh on the kid. Elizabeth, you want to go next?
No, I was thinking more along the lines of like learning how to balance the two, because we can't necessarily prevent children from having meltdowns, although we try as parents. But how can she balance? And I think I'm going solution-based. So let me stop. I feel like I'm going solution-based. I'm like she wants to learn how to balance the experience of it feeling special, but also balancing how to manage the child if they go into a meltdown.
So So Sarah is a, what do we want to call her?
Sarah is a, I guess I'll say new mom. I was trying to think of something. But Sarah is a young new mom, experiencing imbalance. I'm sorry, say it again.
Who needs to?
Who needs to learn to balance being out in public with her child.
Because, or so that?
So that the experience can feel special again.
All right, and we can design around that, right? We can, that doesn't have a solution, but we can design around different ideas to help her balance so that she can experience again. So that's great. That was awesome. All right, so now we are going to we're going to go into breakouts, and we are going to spend, so this is the quick slide that, breaks it down. So the users, be very specific, needs, you want a verb, and then the surprising insight. So you're going to do these 3 pieces for yours. We're going to go into 2 different breakout rooms. You're going to have 10 minutes. RJ, we're adjusting. 10 minutes in our breakout rooms, and you're going to come up with your point of view statements. So RJ, do you mind opening up it doesn't have access to the breakout rooms. All right. Do you have it now, RJ? Okay, I will create them. Okay, so I'm gonna put Diana, Linda, and Skylar in room 1. In room 2, it's gonna be Elizabeth, Paul, and Renard. And RJ, and I'll go into room 1. But RJ and I are just going to be flies on the wall. You're going to do this where you user need insight for your idea. So here we go.
Got switched back. I was just speaking with RJ about the idea of how we can break down some of the information that's given, because I was saying that I feel like the insightful part always gives a lot of extra information. And so you're always trying to figure out, is it one thing that we go with, or because it's like 2 or 3 parts to it. And so it's like when you're trying to break it down, it's like, okay, well, which one do we go with? Which one really fits with the rest of the sentence? I found it a little bit easier to create it from scratch. RJ and I were talking about just, in a professional setting, being able to kind of make your statements concise. And before we got cut off, RJ, I was going to say that for me, I feel like I've done this before, but I think I've done it just out of habit and experience, and not really understanding that I was breaking it down in these different parts. So now with saying, okay, hey, you have to pull out the user, you have to pull out the need, and you have to pull out this, is like now my brain is like working overload. Whereas I feel like maybe if I was just giving the example and then you said, hey, break this scenario down into like 2 sentences, I probably would have like got it right away, because it's part of my wheelhouse, but not in this way. Like I've not used this formula outright to do that. Does that make sense?
Yep. And we're gonna we're gonna learn a different formula in just a second. The how might we, which I think for some people is a little more natural than the point of view. They're both helpful, and we want you to do them both, and they'll both help you define your problem, and they can both be used in that design process. However, I'm curious to see what you think when we go into this how might we, and if you like that a little bit more, and if it feels a little bit easier. So, all right. So RJ, do you mind pulling up the slides again? All right, so how might we are questions that have the potential to spark ideation sessions and brainstorming. It should be creating a question that you can actually tackle. They should be like we've been talking about, broad enough for a wide range of solutions and narrow enough to that specific solutions can be created from them. They should be based on observations you gather in the empathize stage of the design thinking process. So a lot of the same stuff that was a part of the point of view. All right, and then we have a video.
Okay,
RJ,
I was trying to get it to
Okay.
the screen share version, but I forgot how to do it. Guys, bear with me, everyone. Sorry. Oh, I know what to do. That's what's going on. Boom. Is this the video? Yes, it is.
that's a video, yeah.
And here we go. It has an ad.
With Zapier, instead of doing the same
Sorry,
task
guys.
over and over again, like you.
Oh, RJ, if you mute yourself, we can't hear it.
Here for designing innovative solutions. The How Might We method is a proven design thinking activity which has participants simply rephrase known challenges as a question, beginning with how might we. Writing how might we notes is a collaborative exercise and is done at the beginning of a design sprint, workshop, project, or strategic initiative. Begin by performing subject matter expert interviews and user research. Step 1, seek first to understand. Identify and outline any insights or pain points related to your current design challenge or initiative. You might do this by listening to subject matter interviews, watching a demo, observing a user test, or reviewing past research. Step 2, reframe as a question. While you are listening, reframe these insights into questions by starting with, how might we? Step 3, turn challenges into opportunities. By reframing a challenge as a question, you're getting at the core of the challenge and asking how it could be solved. Step 4, be prolific. Write out as many how might we notes as reasonably possible. More how might we questions create more opportunities for solution exploration. Remember that your how might we question shouldn't be too broad or too narrow, and it shouldn't include a solution. An example of a how might we question that is too narrow and solution specific. How might we design a product that helps users deposit their paychecks in 3 easy steps by using a guided workflow? An example of a how might we question that is too broad. How might we create the most innovative digital online banking app? An example of a well-framed how might we question. How might we make our users feel confident our application is secure when making online payments? You'll know you have a well-framed how might we question when it contains enough inspiration for you to begin brainstorming potential solutions.
All right, thank you, RJ. So that one, the 3 easy steps, that was too narrow. Why was that too narrow? Depositing a paycheck in 3 easy steps.
It almost provides the solution, like it kind of is already alluding to what they think might be the best idea.
Right. and like, how might we do this in 3 easy steps? Well, how many options really are there? You know, I mean, it's kind of, yeah, it doesn't give that wiggle room for creativity. It's pointing to a solution. That's exactly right. And then the really broad one is it's just too much to take on. And so having that, how can we, I think, feel confident or secure or something, that was something that you could come up with ideas around. So, so the how suggests that we don't have the answer yet. It lets us kind of step away from those biases that we might have come in with, and lets us really open ourselves up to a variety of solutions and get outside of what we initially thought that the solution was. The might is just there's lots of solutions to things. So it allows us that space to look at multiple solutions and come up with a lot of different ideas. And so that can spark many solutions. And we want it to be a collective, a process, an open process. So we really like collaborative, especially in the brainstorming phase, and want to encourage that sharing of ideas with other people. And one of the ways that you know if you created an effective point of view question is to see if it can be answered in a variety of ways. And I'm trying to rush a little bit because I want to give you guys time to work on your own point of view, or your own how might we questions. So we're going to start by rephrasing and framing your point of view by adding how might we at the beginning. So and then we take that larger thing and we break it into more actionable and meaningful questions. So as you saw in the video, there were lots of sticky notes with how might we. So you can have a variety of how might we questions. And you have to ask yourself, do these allow for solutions, a variety of solutions? Like, or is this like just saying one solution? Because if it's saying one solution, you don't have the right question yet. And if they're too broad, if it's like, just so many solutions out there, you need to narrow it down. So that's something you can practice around. So back to our 7-year-old student, the user, he's 7 years old. He needs to do homework. The insight is because he said that it took him forever to finish. So if he's looking for efficiency, like being more efficient. So how we turn that point of view statement into a how might we is, how might we create a way for this student to do his or her homework more efficiently? So that's taking that point of view statement and then making a how might we question out of it. Okay, so really quickly, I'm probably just going to do one person for each of these. I want you to come up with a how might we statement for this first one. I'm a college student and I hate folding laundry because I can't seem to fold it in the right way. How might we, someone? We turn that into a how might we?
Be taught the right way to fold your clothes.
All right. How might we teach how to fold the right way to fold clothes? Okay. I am the mother of a 5-year-old of 5-year-old twins who hate vegetables of all kinds. I'm worried about their nutritional needs. How might we? Somebody else?
Make a tasty baby food that has high vegetable, I guess. Yeah.
Or meets their nutritional needs. Yep, that's a great how might we? Okay, next one. I'm a farmer who has a hard time getting up early, even though I know I have to take care of animals. I keep sleeping through my alarm. How might we?
How might we find a better way to, no. I was gonna say, how might we find a better way to wake him up, but then I started thinking about getting more sleep, so that threw me off. Sorry.
This one's a little harder. and Skylar, I liked yours, but it did, having that product in there, you offered a solution. So if you take that piece out, and how might we create something that, because then it takes out that specificity of a solution and allows for multiple solutions. So anyone have one for this farmer?
How might the farmer wake up with the sun in his face?
So that's close, but it's not addressing the animals and yeah, I don't know if it's getting to the heart of this problem here that he's having.
He needs
You
inspiration,
wanna,
I would think.
what was that?
I think he needs an inspiration.
How might we inspire the farmer to get up in the morning?
How might we find a
Yes,
better method of waking?
Oh, that's
How
a good
might-
one, though. Is the problem
wake
that
up?
he's not getting enough sleep, or is it that it's hard for him to hear his alarm? Like, I hear the problem differently.
See, and this is where we come up with a few different things and different ways that we could design around stuff. See, when I see this, I think, how might we let the farmer sleep in but still feed the animals?
Yeah, I hear
Because
how
my
might
dad-
we help him go to sleep earlier.
So we can write different how might we questions around that point of view. So it's okay to explore different how might we's. I wouldn't get too far out there with them, but as long as they're relevant to your point of view statement, go ahead and you can, and let's use them. We're going to use them as a launching point for our ideation phase. So, I'm gonna just read you a few examples on the next slide of some successful ones that they'll give you an idea. So how might we create a tool to help college students fold laundry? How might we help the mother succeed in getting her children to eat vegetables? How might we create something to help the farmer wake up each morning? So these are different how might we's. So not that the ones that we did were wrong, but these are things that none of them provide a solution, and that's intentional. These questions are the questions that we begin the brainstorming with the team process with. So we use these, and the key is to allow room to explore solutions. And so, all right, so what I want to do, because this is very close to the last slide, is I want to give us 10 minutes to work on coming up with some how might we questions for our products. So we're going to go into breakouts again. We're going to do the same breakouts, and I'm going to throw you in right now.
Renard, can you send it to me again?
I'm sorry, I always
Exactly.
feel terrible when I cut people off. I know that I do it, and it's like, I'm like, I try to wait for a nice break in the sentence, but there's never a good point. So I apologize. All right. We are just gonna really quickly kind of wrap up here. So you guys were doing, how do you guys feel about point of view statements and how might we statements? Or do you feel like you're getting the hang of it? Is it getting you excited for ideating and coming up with ideas? Yes. Okay. So can we go to the next slide, RJ, please? All right. So This week we have today we have a quiz area rather than, it will say start quiz rather than start assignment. You're going to put in your point of view statement and at least one how might we statement and submit those. So that should be quick. What you've done today, you should be able to go ahead and from what I've heard, I think most of you already have something that you can submit. So please just go ahead and do that. And don't forget to send your updated goals with status and dates to info@10and5.org so that we can all help you be accountable. And then on Wednesday, we get to start brainstorming and we move into the next part of design thinking, which is the ideate portion of design thinking. So that will be a lot of fun. Really looking forward to that with you all. So remember just to kind of to prep for that. Just keep doing your interviews. Keep pulling out those themes. Keep working on building those user personas that are accurate. But mostly to get ready, build that point of view statement and build those how might we statements so that we can start coming up with ideas together. And pick one strong how might we statement that you want to really focus on when we start our brainstorming. So I will leave you with that. Does anyone have any questions before we call it to a close tonight? Anybody? All right.
Where do you find this quiz area again?
So it's in the lesson for today. So it's under module 7. And if you scroll down to the bottom of the lesson, it'll say start. I think it says start quiz.
Okay.
So, and really all the quiz is just putting in these statements.
Yeah, I know. Thanks.
A quiz. All right, everyone. Well, I will see you on Wednesday. Thank you so much for all your hard work tonight, and I look forward to starting to ideate with everyone. So, all right. Bye,
All
all.
right, good night, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye.